did I read this right? Y'all can tell me if I'm reading this right. In response to the increased use of AI in the industry, Rahul Purini, the president of Crunchyroll, says, "We want to make sure creators get to tell the stories the way they want to tell them, whatever technology they want to use. But it is the creator's intent. They get to tell the stories, and we want to be authentic to their storytelling." It almost sounds like Rahul Purini seems perfectly fine with having AI on their platform. Now, yes, in the past, Crunchyroll has been very clear about their stance of AI. I mean, even when we had the situation with, Mekuro Maiko, where we had the whole chat GPT says, they were pretty clear in their response to that whole situation is that their agreement with the vendors, they do not use AI, and seemingly this slipped through the cracks. So again, whether you want to believe that or not, we had the whole situation with Yuzuki Family's Four Sons, where those translations were completely borked, but it seems like their constant response to these issues and the allegations of using AI is that we don't use it. Now, they have said, Rahul Purini himself has said, in the past, yes, Crunchyroll does use AI, or they're looking to use AI, but it's specifically towards, like, suggestions. So whenever you watch a show, it's using AI or something to look at, what other people, watch and whatnot and enjoy and hit like on, and they're going to feed you those shows. So it's an algorithm thing, which honestly all platforms use. I mean, Twitter is very big and active on the idea of using AI in your feed itself, using AI to sort of orchestrate what you're going to enjoy and what to feed you next. But this specific new little update here on their stance on AI is a little bit interesting, and it's through this interview on RadioTimes with Rahul Purini, the president of Crunchyroll. They said specifically, the question was, Crunchyroll has said it before, you'll never use AI. Which that's a lie, and he corrects it technically here. He has said that they will use it for algorithms and stuff like that. How difficult is it to navigate in an industry swinging towards that a lot of the time? So what they're addressing here, or the interviewer is asking here, is that, hey, all these companies are now being very bold about the use of AI. Shoot, Cygames is very big on saying, we're using it. We're going to use it. They're still like respecting their creators and their artists and all that kind of stuff. Don't worry about that. We're not going to fire anybody, but we're using it. It seems like especially in the East, China, Korea, all these, different countries do seem like they are more and more accepting and being a lot more bold about saying, we're using this stuff. And yes, even a lot of producers in Japan are now saying they're using stuff. I think we're getting to a point now where they're seeing that the investors want this. The investors want to hear they're using it. And they're looking at ways that they can use it in the creative process to speed things up and make things a lot more efficient. And the unfortunate, of course, side effect is going to be is that a lot of people are going to be losing their jobs. Whether they want to claim it or not, they're going to lose their jobs. Like I've always stated, my stance on AI has always been it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when, because that's just how AI as a new technology in the industry is working. It's just like anything else in any other advancements in technology. It's a sad reality. But yeah, it seems like obviously a lot of these companies are no longer shying away from it. And they're now embracing it because it seems like it is something that is now functionally working for them and they want to use it. And with that rise, they're asking Crunchyroll, Rahul Purini, hey, how are you guys navigating this? His response is, I would say it's not that difficult. We are very clear in terms of what we will and will not do, which I think is a good thing. Again, whether you want to, accept what they say or not, again, with the whole thing with like subtitling and stuff, we have always said creators' authenticity is really important to us. Some people would probably disagree with that. We want to make sure the creators get to tell the stories the way they want to tell them, whatever technology they want to use. But it is the creator's intent. And again, the way this is sort of worded, and it seems like a lot of people are picking up on this, this seems to be implying that Crunchyroll seemingly is okay with the idea of having AI on their platform. Which, let's be perfectly honest here, it's already happening. There's a lot of cases where there is anime with AI in it that is ending up on the platform. Whether they intend it or not, Ascendants of Bookworm sent them copies of their first episodes with the OP having AI in it. And I think this is a really good stance for them to have just based on that alone, because this is almost like them saying, in a way, and I would say this, if I was the president of Crunchyroll, I would want to be very perfectly clear to everybody, we're not micromanaging what's in the show. We're seeing a show, it's available, the producer's saying that it's available, we buy the show from them. We're not going to watch the episode and comb through it to try to see if it has AI in it or not. If they use AI, that's their own business. So it is a good stance for them to have as a platform to not have to micromanage and check every episode what has AI in it or not. Now, if I was Crunchyroll, and I would be doing this right now because there's still a divide on what people accept and don't accept when it comes to AI, especially when it comes to art, I would be, as a company, wanting to at least say in an agreement, you will notify us if AI is used in any way, shape, or form so that we can put a tag on it on the site. Why I say that is because it takes the sort of heat off of the company. Now, again, we're talking about Crunchyroll here, and I think there's a lot of people out there that just, they'll hate Crunchyroll no matter what. I'm the type that I hold them accountable for when they do something wrong, and other times I really don't care. They're a company. Do whatever the hell you want to do. I think it's still important in the end, no matter what your stance is that at least there is an accountability there, because I think if they don't at least specify that there is AI on something, the heat will go to them. And it always happens. The platform always gets the heat, despite the fact that it's some other company deciding or not. So I think that would be good for them to do. I don't think they're going to do that. I don't think they care enough. It might end up being an issue later on, but it's more likely that eventually people will accept it because they won't notice it. And then eventually it'll come to light that it's been using it. Like the whole statement that happened here recently, that most gaming companies right now are using AI. You just don't know it. I think it's going to come to eventually a point where people just don't know. It's just AI is in it, and you don't even realize it. But again, this is a good stance. I think this is a good stance for them to have, whether you want to believe them or not, is the idea that, hey, if they want to use it, if Saigon Pictures, despite them saying that Sidepick is not using it, they probably are using it. If they're using it, that's their own prerogative. I just think the unfortunate side effect of this whole situation is that we're going to get to a point where Crunchyroll is going to be flooded with AI anime, and it's going to ruin it. I honestly think it's going to ruin it. I think personally for me, unless something really significantly changes, I think there's eventually going to come a time where I'm just not going to watch anime anymore because I just don't find a value in animated with AI. I personally, my belief, I don't see a value in it. I see a value in creative art. So when it comes to that point where suddenly I watch a show and 100% of it is done with AI, I'll just read the source material. I don't have a value in going to that because I don't see that people put effort into it. And thus it's just colors on the screen. That's my personal stance. You don't have to believe that. You could claim, I'm going to enjoy it. That's on you. It's fine. Enjoy it. I just personally won't. They get to tell their story, and we want to be authentic to their storytelling. There's a lot of people that would take a lot of disagreement to that statement right there. Yeah, we'll bring up like the whole mansplaining. I mean, that's technically high dive, but like, yeah, all these cases where they change the subtitling in some way. That's something been a beef for me for a long time, is the idea of changing the intent of the creator through the localization process, changing the jokes because you feel like you're funnier than the original creator, or changing the intent of the joke itself because you feel that the previous one was too offensive. Yeah, you have some hit and miss there, Crunchyroll, for damn sure. And so that's why we're not using AI in our creative process, whether it's subtitling or dubbing. Yeah, this is the important thing to note. The only place in creative process that Crunchyroll would use AI is going to be the subtitling dubbing. Because again, for a lot of people, this seems to be missed for some reason. Crunchyroll themselves don't alter the actual show. They in a lot of cases, they're contractually not allowed to. Any changes that are done to these shows is done before it arrives to them. And the only thing they add to it is dubbing and subtitles. So those are the only two things they would mess up. This is not like, like a 4Kids situation where they change the rice ball into a donut. Crunchyroll can't do that. I know this is a shocker for some people. Crunchyroll cannot change things or censor things. Now, they can choose not to air something, and that's the situation that happened with, interspecies reviewers, and that was with Funimation. But they themselves, whatever is given to them, the master is given to them, that's what they show, unless the law tells them otherwise. They can't air something that breaks the law. That's about the only thing where they cannot touch something. Or at least they would have to shut something down. But anyways, that aside, he continues, at the same time, we are a technology company. We are building experiences for our fans, and we wouldn't be doing our job if we're not using technology to create those amazing experiences. Again, this is talking about the idea of using algorithms and whatnot. So we're looking at AI in terms of how can we help with discovery? How can we help with recommendations and personalization? How can we build a platform more engaging to our fans? That clarity makes it easy for how we use AI. Again, this is how they're going to be feeding you that algorithm of, recommendations and whatnot, which again makes sense. Now, I question about the whole idea of personalization. I'm guessing that's still in terms of the discovery part, that it could be personalization of discovery. I don't know if it's going to be something else that's going to be added in there, some visuals or something like that that's going to be added outside of recommendations. We'll have to wait and see. That's pretty much all that was in this. I mean, they talked a little bit about K-pop Demon Hunters, which was funny because they were like, hey, do you guys think that you guys help with the popularity there? And he thankfully was like, no, we're not like some people that make everything great. We're like in our little thing here that we're working on. Though he does mention the fact that I think, technically Sony Pictures is invested in K-pop Demon Hunters. So it's like he technically could brag. But he's like, no, our parent company did that. I'm not going to take from what they did and look really bad here. I'm not going to speak on that whole thing there, which is kind of funny. There's a lot of little humbleness in this entire discussion, which I do give him a little bit of respect for, talking about the idea that they didn't create a lot of the fandom, that there was a lot to do with, the animators, the creators, the stories they were telling that made it what it is. So I do respect him there, that he doesn't take like full credit for a lot of this stuff, and the excitement around a lot of this stuff is a good thing. The investment part's kind of interesting. He says in response to the questioning their investment right now, he says content continues to be our biggest investment. It's the foundation of why fans come to anime, why fans come to Crunchyroll, and so we're very keenly focused on building and continuing to extend our catalog. Well, in that case, keep renewing your licenses. Unless there's like some sort of conflict there, keep the licenses going. That's no different from what we were focused on a decade ago. Global expansion, serving global fans is going to be an area of investment. We like to say that we want to be everything for an anime fan. We're not interested in being something for everyone, but we want to be everything for someone. I think in my response to that really is, and this is me probably taking a little out of context here, then focus on the fans as a whole, the anime fan as a whole. I think Crunchyroll too often gets focused on, it's like what RadioTimes is doing here. RadioTime here is focused on Jujutsu Kaisen and Soul Leveling. The big shonens! Demon Slayer, Soul Leveling, Demon Slayer, Soul Leveling, Jujutsu Kaisen. That seems to be all they're interested in. Whenever they go out on stage, it's Demon Slayer, Demon Slayer. It's the joke like Xbox things, TV. It's Demon Slayer, Demon Slayer. Because I think that's a big problem there, is that I think they've gotten too much focus away from like anime as a whole, that they focus too much on just shonen. So Crunchyroll has become shonen. And again, that's sort of the problem that we see with the anime awards. It's the shonen awards, because that seems to be all they're focused on. That's all they're really promoting and pushing, which is unfortunate reality. And I think that sort of has isolated a bigger, broader fan base, a deeper fan base that's there. Obviously for the sake of money, because shonens is money. And that's all they seem to care about. But the problem is that I think once those shonens do conclude, that's when they start to dry up. And that's where they have that problem. Even a lot of companies even talk about this, the idea that when those big shonen go away, what are we going to do? Where's all the money going to come into the industry? If you don't focus on those other titles, if you don't focus on the art of anime itself, your value drops the moment those shonens are done. That's pretty much all I want to really uncover on this entire discussion. There's a lot more on this RadioTimes interview with Rahul Purini. I always like to jump on these interviews. I know that some people don't like to hear from Crunchyroll. They don't like Crunchyroll. They don't like Rahul Purini. But I've always found it very, very important to listen to what these individuals are saying, because whether you like it or not, and I don't like it because it obviously implies a monopoly, whatever Crunchyroll decides to do, whatever Rahul Purini does, whatever they say, often sort of sways where anime itself goes. Now, at its heart, anime is going to do what anime does. It's going to be in Japan. Japan doesn't want to listen to what the outsiders say. But there's a lot of like flow of this content that goes out of Japan that in a lot of cases Crunchyroll is kind of sort of orchestrating. And where anime itself goes can often be swayed in a way by them. It's not controlled by them, but it's swayed by them. And so it's very important to kind of see where their allegiances lie, especially when it comes to AI. Technically, Crunchyroll could say, we will not allow AI on our platform, and that would sway a lot of these producers, especially like Aniplex, which is, their parent company with Sony. It would sway them to go, okay, don't use AI. They could potentially sway this kind of stuff, but they don't. So we'll see where it goes from here. But that's my thoughts on this interview with Rahul Purini. Hope you found it informative. Hope you found it entertaining. If you did, hit the like button down below. Until next time, take care.